Hello America, my name is Kevin Wu and today we'll be diving headfirst in the wild, wild world of the Roaring Twenties. Here's my beautiful co-host and fabulous fashion designer, Owen Murphy.
Thanks, Kevin. You're absolutely right about how wild the 20s were. In fact, they were so wild, most people either got drunk or brutally murdered, and nobody even batted an eye. If only our country were still like this, I wouldn't have to face all of those criminal court cases when I murdered my wives.
Anyway, today we'll be discussing the nature of the 20s and the most important people during the time period. And one of the most significant books of our nation, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald.
That's right, Kevin. First, we'll be taking a look at the popular and sensational culture of the 1920s. Wow, Kevin.
In the 20s, there was a plethora of talented yet forgotten writers known as the Lost Generation who rejected post-World War II values and whatnot.
That sounds kind of pretentious, Kevin.
Nobody asked you. The three most well-known writers of this era were F. Scott Fitzgerald, Ernest Hemingway, and John Dos Passos, but they aren't very important.
What is important are the actors and actresses of the 20s, which feature such lovely characters like Charlie Chaplin, who had a rough home life and became a professional entertainer in 1898.
In addition to that guy, we have Mary Pickford, a wonderful young actress who conquered Broadway.
Movies became the huge sensation in the 20s, and the first talkie, The Jazz Singer, was released in 1927. Movie stars made buttloads of money and managed to secure about $100,000 for a single movie. That's about as much as I have to pay for child support.
Please stop.
There's a very good reason why the 20s is considered the jazz age, and that's because there were a lot of jazz performers. They played jazz, by the way.
Yeah, I figured.
Solo performances emerged from groups like Louis Armstrong, and he's really the only one that matters.
Indeed. Radio and sports became massively popular during this decade, and women, because of their liberal and free attitude, transformed their image into that of the flappers, individuals who explore their sexuality and freedom through expression.
Wow, you are such a colossal nerd.
We go now live to the scene of Al Capone and vicious mobsters' recent criminal exploits. How's it going there, Rut?
So what appeared to have happened this day was that the perpetrators, led by Al Capone, actually were disguised as police officers, put the victims up against a wall, lined up, before shooting them. Now, it's very possible that it was a gang-related activity. Bryan Strauss, do you have anything to say about that?
No.
He says no. Wikipedia says yes, which isn't Obama. Now, unlike many gangsters at the time, Al Capone was born into a well-off family of 5. His father, Gabriel, was a respectable barber who has been to school in Naples, Italy, before moving to the U.S. in 1894. His mother, Teresa, was also an Italian immigrant who came to America already pregnant with 2 children. The Capone family moved to Brooklyn, and on January 12, 1899, Alphonse Capino was born. Capone lived in less than ideal circumstances. In the tenement that he lived, he experienced many race and cultures that would later make a far effective crime boss. Capone had a less than satisfying school career. Many public schools were intolerant of immigrants, and he was treated poorly as physical punishment. Now, Bryan Strauss, what do you think about Al Capone? Very nice. We're going to take a break from the horrific incidents of today to wait for more information to come in so we can continue our reporting. However, be sure to check out my commercial for my new TV show. It's about the drumline that stays together after high school. And there are also detectives that are really anti-Harding administration. It's called Never Make Friends. Thank you.
Did you find it?
No, man. We've been looking high and low for the thing, but we just...
You've got to find it.
I know. We've been searching, man. We can't find it. It's nowhere to be found.
It's got to be somewhere. It's essential for the future of this country.
Do you think I know that?
No, I don't think it. Where is the birth certificate? Wherever you are, Harding, I'll be there too. Also, in other news, President Harding refuses to show his birth certificate. Well, where is it, Mr. Harding? I'm pretty sure it's common knowledge that Ohio is still an Indian colony. The Treaty of Greenville is still pretty recent, so he's more than likely still of Indian blood and loyal to anti-Americans. I ask again, where is the birth certificate? What's this? Oh, we found it. Fake!
Thank you, Rut. That was a heap of useless information.
I agree.
Shut up, Kevin.
Now it's time for us to dive deep into the meat of the 20s, a fabulously written piece of literary genius conceived by F. Scott Fitzgerald, The Great Gatsby.
That book was so terribly boring. I wanted to stab my third wife again. It was that boring.
Anyway, F. Scott Fitzgerald was born on September 24th, 1896, to a not-so-well-off sort of family. He became dissatisfied with his father's lack of success and aspired to be greater than anything he was. As such, he decided to become a great writer. He managed to make it into Princeton, where he was honored with his writing abilities and made everyone laugh.
Indeed, Kevin, Fitzgerald was put on academic probation, and his college life in all of its splendor was cut short. And so, Fitzgerald decided to join the army and fight in World War I, but he never actually saw any real combat. And when the war ended, he attempted to woo a beautiful young belle named Zelda.
Fitzgerald's first writing hit was with his little book, This Side of Paradise, which was a smashing success. Afterwards, he would go on to publish The Great Gatsby in 1925, which, while not exactly a financial success, still achieved acclaim critically and was preserved a classic for years to come.
Sadly, things weren't all roses for the Fitzgeralds. While they partied and had fun and went around on the town, eventually it had to come to an end and Zelda went f***ing crazy. F. Scott became a chronic alcoholic, unfortunately, while young Zelda eventually went crazy. The Great Depression sort of messed everything up for them. F. Scott moved to California in an attempt to find success in screenwriting, but eventually died working on yet another novel at the age of 44. Zelda died in a sanitarium later on.
But despite the bitter end of the Fitzgeralds, F. Scott Fitzgerald's book, The Great Gatsby, is still an all-time classic and has spawned numerous film adaptations, including a new one just released starring Leonardo DiCaprio.
That movie literally made me urinate blood for the next week.
Well, at least it wasn't as bad as the other movie versions.
If I ever meet Baz Luhrmann, I will actually take his face and slam it into Ewan McGregor's chin.
Hate to interrupt you, Owen, but we're getting an update regarding Al Capone by Rutledge.
We go live to the scene. Oh god. Damn.
Oh, this is the bricks.
Yep.
They're covered in blood.
Why don't we talk about the symbols? Okay, Kevin. Well, there are quite a plethora of symbols in The Great Gatsby.
Like what, Erwin?
Like, shut your goddamn mouth, Kevin! One important symbol in the novel is the green light that Gatsby reaches out to longingly at the beginning of the book. The green light is a bright shining bulb at the end of the Buchanan's dock. Gatsby yearningly reaches out to it every night, knowing that behind that beautiful green shine lays the prize he has been working towards for 5 years. The light symbolizes Gatsby's efforts to rekindle the relationship he once had with Daisy and recreate the past. He sees how close he is to his goal, standing merely across the river from the East Egg, where his dreams awaits. The green light is symbolic of the American dream, the ideal that everything we're striving for is just within our grasp, and it forces us to question whether or not actually achieving it will be worth the struggle.
That's really interesting.
Not really. What is interesting are the eyes of Eckelberg, which stare down hungrily at the characters of the novel, judging their every action and mistake. At each key event in the book, the eyes of Eckelberg glare forebodingly upon the current debacle, never breaking their lingering gaze. When Nick accompanies Tom and Myrtle during their affair, the eyes are there, watching their every move. When Gatsby, Nick, Jordan, Daisy, and Tom travel to New York together, the eyes follow them mercilessly. When Daisy runs down Myrtle in cold blood, tearing her to shreds and covering the roadway in her viscous red innards, the eyes see all. Whether they symbolize God judging the characters for their wrongdoings, or the audience grimacing in disgust at their behaviors, the message is clear. No terrible deed goes unnoticed. Whether it be by some divine omnipresent deity, or by the reader analyzing a story, somebody will know about their nature.
I think you're kind of getting carried away with those symbols.
Oh, and let's not get started with the color symbols. Color white in the novel is used to symbolize purity and innocence, most significantly with the dresses that Daisy and Jordan wear, while the color yellow is used to symbolize rot and corruption, and the nature of the rich and lavish lifestyle that usually is viewed as a positive. The color of Gatsby's car that he flaunts around is a bright yellow, while the flappers that frequently attend his extravagant parties wear flamboyant yellow dresses. The name of Daisy is in itself a color symbol, as the daisy is white on the outside, and on the inside, yellow and rotten.
You know, you're starting to sound like the pretentious English teacher who tries to shove symbols down people's throats.
I'm gonna commit ritualistic suicide now. Good night, everybody.
Oh, well, that'll be all for our report tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching News Report, and we hope that you didn't commit speako along with Erwin. My name is Kevin Wu, and I'm to use the restroom.